The Jeddak of Zdenga means to crush helium this very night, and if helium falls, so does Basum. We must throw off the yoke of old hatreds. Tharks did not cause this, but by Isis, Tharks will end it. We ride for Zdenga! I was nearly there. This is the science fiction rating system. My name is Alex Humphrey, and I am joined by Chris Redding.
Hello.
Hey, Chris. Hey, what were you going to say?
That's what Rick Moranis says in starting Ghostbusters, isn't it? Something like that.
Yes, and the other person that is with us right now is Sam Draper. Hey, Sam.
Hello, Jeddah.
Yeah. I mean, if we were doing a proper John Carter podcast, we'd all have about 7 names. So we'd all be called our names.
Yeah.
We'd all be called where we're from. So I'd be like, London, I guess, because that's what they call in Virginia, don't they?
Yeah.
Then we'd also have another name, which would be the name that some alien gives us. Does he have a fourth name? I reckon he probably does, doesn't he?
A lot of this film is people like just barfing names at each other for extended
sequences. A lot of it
isn't it, really?
is that. Yes. We are talking John Carter, the 2012 film, written screenplay and directed by Andrew Stanton, he'd done Wall-E, he'd done Finding Nemo. I think he'd done Finding Nemo, but no, maybe he hadn't done Finding Nemo by this point.
Both of them, those films, very successful, I think.
Yeah.
But,
good film.
Chris, no questions here. Both films very successful. But do we think that a man who's made 2 big animated films like that could handle live action? Because the answer is no, because it's But you could kind of see why they gave him the control, but also you can see why they shouldn't have given him.
Well, but also this film was in development hell for a long, long time, wasn't it? Went through a lot of hands.
Do you want to know how many years it was in development hell?
I'm going to say 18.
18? Chris, do you want to guess?
25 years.
79 years. Pre-production first started in 1931 when Robert Clampett, director of
discovered
Looney
Mars.
He approached the guy that wrote it. So this is how fucking long ago it was. The guy that wrote it was still alive to make an animated version of it. And if it had been made, it would have been the first American animated feature. It would have beat Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Basically, 1931 that was.
It's the longest in production, probably.
Yeah, official filming started in 2010.
They started making it before they started making Dumbo.
Yeah.
Do you remember Ain't It Cool News, that website with the walking fatberg Harry Knowles, now a sex pest? He was attached to it for ages, and they used to post about it constantly. Ain't it cool? Like, oh, John Carter's coming along, John Carter's coming along. And I had a look. I don't think he's actually involved with the final thing, but it was a big.
No, that was so. It's been. I'm not. We won't. I mean, if you want to look at the background to this, so there was a 19.
But there's literally a book about it, isn't there? There's literally a book about the making of this film. Yeah. Sorry.
There's a 30s version. There's a 1950s version with Ray Harryhausen, which would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Mario Kaiser.
It's gone through all the technology changes. It's like there's no point saying like they started here doing development, because it literally would have been like they literally have to restart, don't they? Like,
each time,
because the technology is different.
Yeah. The version you're talking about, Sam, that was 2004 with Robert Rodriguez, and it fell apart because of Sin City and him leaving the.
So this is actually the highest bomb when you adjust for inflation.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
And we've got you'd be happy to know, we've got a flops quiz later.
Nice. Oh, I'll stop looking at this table then.
Yeah.
We're also on this bomb thing. This is also, I'm sure this is unprecedented. Disney let the rights to this lapse and go back to the novel, the author, in 2016. Wow. And Disney, forgetting a right, that can't be a thing that happens often at all, can it?
Well, maybe there's loads of people still unpaid on it, and they think they're going to go back to the author.
The two questions to ask yourself here, and I think these are important questions for why it was such a bomb. number one, did you see this film at all? Had you seen this film,
guys?
No,
I hadn't seen it, no.
I'd seen... I don't know. I hadn't properly seen it. I somehow remembered certain bits of it.
Yeah. So that's the first question. So none of the three of us watched this film. So we were completely put off. Either the marketing didn't get us, or we were so put off by how bad the reviews were.
I don't remember
right?
it coming out. I don't remember it even being...
Oh, don't you?
I remember it being around, but I don't remember it being like a thing to go and see. But
no, okay.
I don't know.
The other question is, were you aware of it as a book?
Literally only because of the Harry Knowles thing, because it was just...
Right,
it was,
okay.
I used to read that site a lot in the early 2000s.
Chris, did you know about the original book by...
Edgar Rice Burroughs, isn't it? The Tarzan.
I assumed it was probably a comic book or a book or something.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of so high concept. It's like, if you were starting off making a film, I'm not sure you'd do this.
There's 12 books, aren't there, something? There's a lot of them, aren't there?
It's a lot of books. I mean, we won't bore into the...
It's like early 1900s Pulp Fiction, like Tarzan, Pulp Fiction-y kind of...
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you kind of it's sword and sandals kind of. Like the white man goes and saves I mean, it is a lot like Tarzan, but in space. And I think so. What I'm trying to attach to this is another big problem with this film was the guy that directed it was obsessed with the original, and he over assumed people's knowledge of it as a property. Yeah. And I think another big mistake Disney made was he actually controlled the marketing to this film. And I think his ideas for the marketing were all like, oh, everyone's going to know what John Carter is, and everyone's going to know who Edgar Rice Burroughs is, of course.
I suppose if it's been kicking around Hollywood since the 30s, that closed bubble, I bet everyone in Hollywood is very familiar with John Carter, aren't they? Because so they won't think outside that bubble and just think, everyone must know it, because we all know it.
Yeah. I mean, how big a bomb this was. Rich Ross resigned his position as Disney Studios leader weeks after Disney predicted they'd lost $200 million on the project.
Didn't they? They dropped it while it's still in cinema, didn't they? They dropped marketing it the second week something it was out. It was such a disaster.
Yeah. It was a big disaster. Anyway, let's dig into this disaster. Yeah. We open with a nice red Disney logo. I like that.
I like that. Yeah,
it's just a hue, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it looked cool. I like when they do that. Yeah. Look good.
Who is it who does that? It's is it Columbia? The one with the woman with the thing.
Yeah,
Fox.
It's Columbia. Fox do a few days. Columbia do a lot.
I think Fox do it a bit as well.
Fox do it a bit,
yeah. And we get the voiceover of Willem Dafoe as Tarkus talking about Mars, not calling it Mars, calling it Bassoon. Just because. And then we get this. I mean, already the beginning of this film is a massive cliche, and I love Marvel, but Marvel films haven't helped this cliche. I think it started with Lord of the Rings, don't you? I think this whole having a bit at the beginning that's kind of the little kind of historical elements to the... Maybe. I would say Lord of the Rings was the first one that had this. I mean, it did it well, but this doesn't. We see Dominic West, and then he's having a war, because there's the blue people and the red people.
I mean, there's lots of, the flying ships and the design, there's lots of stuff on show right from the top, isn't there?
Yes, there is, a lot of design.
I think all the design's shit. I think it's all really poor, not very inspiring.
No. I can only assume it's very, very adhering to what the
I guess
book
it was really
describes.
Expensive.
No, it must have been really expensive.
But you really see the cohesiveness of the design in Dune.
Yeah, it's the polar opposite.
Yeah.
I mean, those green creatures are in a completely different franchise to the flying ships, aren't they? It's ridiculous.
No, yeah. So Dominic West is the baddie. He gets given this weird arm thing by Mark Strong, who's the bigger baddie.
Strange casting. What do you think?
Really weird casting. It's weird casting all the way through.
I don't know. Mark Strong is always strangely cast, I think.
You think?
Yeah, he's always he sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Dominic West is even worse in this. It's that post-Wire put Dominic West in everything kind of phase in life, isn't it? There's a lot of films where you think, what are you doing there?
I mean, there's no names really, because I mean the biggest names in it, well, I would say probably William Dafoe is the biggest name, and he's a voice.
You don't know he's in it, yeah.
No, you don't know he's in it. I mean, there's no one else. I mean, Cranston is in it. Bryan Cranston's in it.
That's a pre-Breaking Bad Cranston, even. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, they didn't really go for it with the cast.
Malcolm in the Middle, Cranston.
The best Cranston.
David Schwimmer's in it.
Is he?
Yeah, he's one of the creatures. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so back in the day, Dominic West got this device from Mark Strange, who isn't there. He's like invisible most of the time.
He can be whoever he wants to be, can't he?
He can be whoever he wants. Oh, God, that didn't help.
And luckily for us, he changes his his character with a sweep of the camera, doesn't he? That's how he... The camera sweeps past a pole or something like that, and he'll change somebody else.
Yeah, it's so annoying. Anyway, and then we cut to like Victorian time, wherever it is. It's period.
This is my favourite bit.
Yeah. So we get.
It's not mental.
Yeah, we get Taylor Kitsch, the John Carter. He's why we're here, because of battleships, and he sends a message to his nephew. So I'm assuming the book is written.
He's unlikable, isn't he, to look at?
He's a terrible leading man.
He looks like a jock type knob.
Yeah. No, he's not. I mean, to his credit, I would say he's acting a lot more in this than he was in Battleships.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's not saying much.
No.
So I'm assuming the setup of the book is the same in the author of the book is like, oh, it's real. I really got my uncle died and he left me this...
without a doubt.
That must be it, mustn't it? Because they kind of made that up for this film. Because that would be mad.
It would be really weird, wouldn't it? To put the author in just as like a cameo. A massive role if he's not in the book. So the author is the nephew of the main character, and he just gets contacted to come to this house, and your main character is already dead in a tomb. Locked from the inside.
Locked from the inside, with intermundus, which means interworlds on the outside of it. And he's going to get everything, but before he gets everything, he has to read this big diary. Now, the hilarious thing is, at the very end of the film, doesn't it say in the diary, oh, you need to act quick because my enemies are always around me? Why did you fucking make him read that whole diary?
It literally says at the end, it says, I think I've written it down, it says...
time is of the essence.
It's like, time is of the essence, and whilst you were reading this, they might have acted. It says that in the text of the book. So maybe on the first page, say, right...
Yeah. Deal with this
straight away, right.
Yeah, deal with this, then come
I've had an interesting life, but let's cut to it. Aliens are after me, watch out.
Yeah. So anyway, we enter the flashback, which is what this film is. Is basically a flashback. Confusingly, there is the main character who we have been flashback into also has flashbacks, doesn't he?
Does he?
He has flashbacks of his dead wife.
Yes, and
so we're in a flashback having flashbacks, which is like,
flashback of a flashback.
Flashback in a flashback. Yeah. Kind of impossible narratively, I would say, but I mean, unless he wrote down in his diary, as the alien thudded me over the head, I dreamt of the blonde woman I was married to for 2 weeks who got burnt alive. Like, is that written in the book?
I guess it must be. I mean, it's a big book, wasn't it? And he's had... How long does he have? He has 68, 81, so he has 13 years to write this book when he comes back.
I don't know. So anyway, John Carter, he's skipped the army, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to fight for anyone, and he says it repetitively that he will not be drawn into anyone's wars. He won't fight. He's not interested in fighting.
Not on this planet.
He says it on... Well, no, he does say it on the other planet, but he backs down on it very quickly. So he's just going around trying to find gold.
Do you think there's a more boring historical setting than the American Civil War?
No.
It's such a turn-off for me. I could not give a shit about anything in the Civil War. Could you? Name a good American Civil War film.
No, I can't think of one.
When's
Chris is really thinking.
When's Revenant? That's before, isn't it? That's before that stuff.
Yeah. It doesn't work here.
Is Ravenous set in the American Civil War?
Oh, man, that's a good film. Good soundtrack. Yeah.
Django?
Django in the Civil War?
No, it's not Civil War.
No, there's a South and a North still in that, isn't there?
He's bumming around anyway, and he can talk to the natives, so they're interested in him, and Cranston captures him. To be honest, this was one of my favourite bits of the film, when they keep catching him, and he keeps trying to get away, and they have that music amping up, and then he just keeps getting hit in the face again, and I quite liked that as a,
It's all right.
It's like
I think
3 minutes.
The tone has already gone like wackadoodle from where you work. It's quite serious at the start, isn't it? And now it's all like very slapstick, and you don't really know where you are with it.
And this is a Disney work. This is a Disney film at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
A massive problem of this film is it does not know who it's supposed to appeal to.
Not at all.
It is so boring. You couldn't put under about. I was bored, but I'm saying like no child is going to sit through this film and listen to them talking and talking and talking.
It's a Pixar film for like 90-year-old American men who like Edgar Rice Burroughs books and the Civil War, isn't it? They don't like Toy Story. We'll make a Pixar film for those particular people.
It should have been crowdfunded by those people.
I bet it's really big in like nursing homes. But they love it.
Probably. Yeah, probably. So John Carter's, he finds a cave, and then he sees one of the Mark Strong people, they're not called Tharks. They're called something though, I can't remember their names.
Like that.
And they touch each...
Is it Tharker?
Mate,
oh no, that's someone else. It's different. No, forget that. Therns,
that's it. Yeah. And he touches him, and they says something, and then he ends up on Mars. So that's how he goes to Mars. There's a very funny montage of him doing little, like, realising that he jumps.
Funny, or...
It's quite, I think, not funny, like, if funny as in it just looks really ridiculous. Yeah. And also, what we hit here is the jumping doesn't look any good. At all.
It's the worst superpower.
But it's a terrible superpower, but it also doesn't look any good as a special effect.
And also, his ability to jump changes from scene to scene. How far he can jump drastically changes.
Yeah.
And what's that supposed to be? Gravity, or?
Well, she explains that the princess goes, "Oh, you must have different bones to us."
Yeah, and the Mark Strong says it as well. For each super jump that Taylor Kitsch performed, he was attached to a harness that allowed him to free fall at a speed of 80 miles per hour. He apparently found it very unpleasant.
I bet. This first bit though, you can like almost see the strings. It's obviously in a harness, isn't it? The way he's like belly flopping across the desert.
It's rubbish.
Terrible.
It looks rubbish, and the problem is that he does it all the way through.
It's his only move, isn't it? Do a big jump and a bit of swordplay.
So he's jumping about, and then he stumbles over some green aliens and gets captured by Willem Dafoe, who's actually quite like Willem Dafoe's character. He obviously is kind of like, because he puts his gun down and puts his hands up, doesn't he? It's very clear to me, even if you didn't know what he was saying, what he's saying.
Doesn't want to fight.
Yeah, whereas John Carter jumps over his head, grabs the gun, and tries to kill him.
John Carter, despite being a famous pacifist,
he
doesn't understand the language of pacifism at all.
Yeah.
These green dudes, though, like this is like the pod race in Phantom Menace. It's like they're at the crowd in that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So again, you've leapt into a different film again now.
What did you think of the green guys, effects-wise?
I just don't give a shit about them.
Yeah.
Don't they look like a Pixar character, don't they? But nothing else in the film does. So
they're also a bit racist, aren't they?
They are a bit
like
racist.
They're very obviously supposed to be the Native
savages,
Americans or the savages, who don't care about the ways of the white man or the red man, which is even more weirdly racist because they're red people on this planet, which is like you're kind of even adding in racism that doesn't even need to be there for no reason. So yeah, I mean, this film is just all over the place. But we cut to our other main character, Djar Thoris, who is the princess, and she's like a super scientist, and she's worked out.
She's invented like a telly or something, isn't she? Like...
Well, it's something to do with Dominic West's weapon that radiates the most intense, baleful blue light.
She says that it's like it's a weapon for him, but for us it will be everything else. But like it's just like she made like a bat or something, like a big bowl, isn't it? I don't know what.
Yeah.
The guy pulls the plug out, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, Mark Strong mucks it all up, or one of the Mark Strong people mucks it up, and then that's kind of it.
Isn't that weird as well? The way like she's like, this is the future, and he pulls the plug out, and then she just stands there, and no one says anything. They just all stare at her like, that's the end of that.
And also, this film is very awful for being very sexist about her. It's like the original, which was written when it was written, she was just a damsel in distress.
Yeah.
But this film doesn't want to do that, so it makes her cool at fighting and a scientist. But then every so often, it just does that straight up, and he saves her from stuff. And
all the scientists are like hot women as well. I mean, sorry, the guards.
Yeah, all the guards are hot women. Yeah, they just look like rubbish Romans, don't they? Like,
well, it's like Amazonian. It's that like early 1900s wank fantasy of men back then, isn't it? You know, an Amazonian woman.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
The unknown.
So John Carter's with the Tharks, but then they get attacked. But the Tharks don't really care about the red and the blue people fighting. So then the princess... the princess is falling, and John Carter's like, she's a human! And he goes and, like, saves her. Like, he doesn't give a shit about anyone else, but because she might be a human, he's going to save her.
I mean, those green things are very annoying. I think if I'd landed in a planet of those and I saw someone I recognised, I'd be like, thank fuck for that. Don't you?
Just to get away, yeah. Oh, he's got his dog by this point. His monster dog.
Fucking dog.
I mean, that's a terrible effect as well. It just looks stupid, doesn't it?
And his power is stupid. Didn't go like supersonic fast around the place.
Yeah,
slubber about.
Really fast.
That guy would be, if they were real, or not real, but if they were like existed in that world, they'd have militarised those guys, weaponised them, wouldn't they?
Yeah, or you'd ride them at least. Yeah, you'd ride them. Definitely ride them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, John Carter doesn't want to fight for the Tharks. So then Willem Dafoe says, well, if you don't, I'll kill this woman. And he goes, all right, I'll fight for you then. Like, literally, like, within a sentence, he just backs down on his pacifism completely.
Yeah.
He calls him... Willem Dafoe calls him Dotar Sojet, which is... that in this, they say it means my two right arms. But actually, in the original... Carter kills these two people, so gets their names because he killed them, which makes more kind of sense, doesn't it?
It would be a bit harder to do in a Disney film, wouldn't it?
Well, he kills people later on, doesn't he?
He doesn't take their name as a trophy, though. It's a bit.
It's not his culture, no. But anyway, we're all losing the will to live. So should we do a quiz?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, right. So here we go. What we're going to do is I am going to read some puntastic, overblown IMDb user review titles for the worst films ever made.
Nice.
So you get a point for guessing what the film is.
Worst or biggest
they're
bombs?
The worst films, the biggest bombs. Biggest bombs. Right. They're the biggest bombs. And we start with John Carter, and I'll tell you it's... So for instance, I would say movie too long, life is too short, Tarzan on planet Mars, a multi-layered mess, a magnificent malfunction, and white men can jump. And that is John Carter, which lost. It's the estimated loss in millions, adjusted for inflation, 225 million. That's how much it lost. And we're going down the list, as in that's the biggest loss. So we're going down. So we start with Chris. Okay, so first you get the. You got to remember these are all big bombs. First you get the titles. You get a bit of kudos for guessing it before I've said all of them, I would say. But anyway, problematic. Never take off the mask. It helps in an emergency to have a horse that likes to eat scorpions. Who was that masked man? No, really, who was he?
Also Disney, isn't it?
What film is this, Chris?
I think.
It is Disney.
Yeah.
Can you remember?
Is it the same year?
It's very near year-wise. 2013. Johnny Depp.
Guesses. Pass it over.
No, what is it?
Lone Ranger.
It's the Lone Ranger. Yes, well done, Sam. And okay, but how much? So John Carter lost 225 million. How much do you think Lone Ranger lost?
195.
Chris, do you want to guess?
150.
Adjusted for inflation, 211 million. It lost. Okay.
No, really.
Disney make a lot of money on other things because they're losing a lot of shit on
this is what they bought.
Yeah,
Marvel and Star Wars, isn't it? They're like, we can't make our own things.
No. Okay, right, Sam. Woohoo! Viking violence, cow urine, poor man's Braveheart. Warriors come out and terror in action with an excellent Antonio Banderas battling killer marauders. What film is that?
Oh, is Gina Davis in it?
I don't think so.
No, it's not Cutthroat Island.
No.
Antonio Banderas.
Yeah. Did you give up?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
13th Warrior. Do you remember that?
I don't know that.
Oh. Do you know how much it lost?
180.
Chris?
120.
200 billion.
Oh, God.
Okay, right, Chris. A colossal train wreck. Part 1 and end. London crawling. Metropocalypse mess. These are clues. I think that's if you remember the film. The problem with these films is you don't remember them because they were so bad. This is a very recent film, 2018. Do you know it, Chris?
Try and get the train wreck one.
That is a clue. Adaptation of a book that was big.
Don't know.
No, Sam, can you steal?
Sure.
Mortal Engines. Do you remember that?
I've read the book. I haven't seen the film.
Yeah, that was a huge flop. Do you want to guess how much it lost? Mortal Engines.
It's like a kid's young adult thing.
Like moving cities.
It's not a train, though, is it?
Okay.
More like a
Not
tank.
a train, actually, no, it's not a train.
Nothing to do with trains.
How much do you think it lost?
So is that a miss? That's a misplay there, right? We don't do this.
No, you got
more reviews.
3 other clues.
Yeah.
Oh, which ones am I supposed to know are false?
They're just named. They're not. Oh wow. Okay. How much did it lose for a point?
180.
Bang on. You can have a point for that. Yeah. That's how much. 180 million it lost. Okay, back to Sam. Set sail for fun. Old style action adventure yarn, better than its reputation suggests. Misfired, miscast swashbuckler, all effort and no payoff. Ahoy, Gina Davis.
Cutthroat Island.
Cutthroat Island.
That's a great film.
It's one of the biggest flops of all time. How much did it lose?
152.
178. Okay, right. Chris. Despite the nationalistic boasting, this film is highly entertaining. Unrelated to the game, sinks without trace, gunboats, guts and geezers.
Battleship.
Yes, well done. Kudos for getting it before I said the Poseidon Adventure meets Transformers. Yeah, very good. How much do you think Battleship's lost?
175.
175. Ooh, 169. No, we're not. Yeah, we're this. Okay, Sam. Some good action sequence, but dark subtext probably ruined this at the box office. An over-exaggerated animation without a soul. The Earth doesn't need this movie. Zemeckis needs scripts. Mars needs better marketers. Do you remember this film? We should probably watch this film because it's supposed to be so awful.
A Robert Zemeckis Mars film?
Yeah,
animated?
That did very badly, very controversial.
What was that?
Isn't it your cat?
Oh, my cat.
Right, so it's a fox outside.
Oh, okay.
Can't believe he can hear that.
Red Planet.
Because it sounds like a human.
It just sounds like a cat.
Like a cat, yeah.
Mars Needs Mums.
Mars Needs Mums?
Have you not heard of Mars Needs Mums?
No.
Oh, it's about... I think it's a planet where all the mums are kidnapped, taken away, and they come to Earth and kidnap this guy's mum.
Disney banger.
Yeah, I think it's like... Yeah,
oh
anyway. Okay. Next one. This is Disney as well, Chris. Some great original ideas, but they're jumbled up. Not what I'd call an e-ticket ride. Timely. What's up with Disney? It's a new tomorrow.
Oh, Tomorrowland.
Yes, well done.
So is that a film based on the ride? I've not seen it.
It is
based on the land.
It isn't based on the land. How much do you think it lost?
150.
Sam, do you want to guess? As I didn't let you do Mars Needs Mums.
120.
164. Okay, back to you, Sam. We've got 3 more. A lot of these are Disney. It's very weird. Maybe we should leave sci-fi cartoons to the Japanese. This movie hasn't aged well, and it wasn't that great to start with. Heavy Metal meets Star Wars. Nice animation, not so nice story. Titan, turn it off.
Titan AE.
Yes, well done. How much did that lose?
140.
Chris?
159.
150.
These are all films you can watch, aren't they? Let's write these down.
Yeah, a lot of these are
sci-fi as well.
Yeah, a lot are sci-fi. Okay, so Chris, ouch, that was boring. It was just a generic sequel, actually. A flashy flashback to fashions and lifestyle. A cold and heartless decade. Another mediocre film made by someone who doesn't get comic books. It's a very recent film.
Oh, was it that Wonder Woman one, 1984 or whatever?
God, that was bad.
Well done. How much did it lose?
Dreadful.
How much do you think?
149.
Sam?
180.
143.
I feel like they should have an asterisk though, because it's a pandemic film. It shouldn't really be that high up, should it? Because that went straight to.
Maybe.
It just shows you that Disney can't make fucking sci-fi.
That's why.
Even
they have. Yeah, but no, Disney.
Marvel.
There's a lot of these. That was now it's DC, but a lot of these are
it's
Disney
DC.
films.
You're right. Shit.
Have you seen that, Alex?
No, I haven't seen it.
Truly,
you put me off. You said it was so
Absolutely
terrible.
On paper, it looks like it might be all right because it's like that 1980s vibes. I quite like the styling on the poster.
That's what I thought. You get like
she can't act for Toffee though, can she?
No, she's terrible, and he's not very good in it either. There's like one little bit in the middle where they do like an 80s montage, dressing him up in like 80s clothes, and he's so out of place. And the whole idea is that basically he's like body raped this poor dude. He she meets this guy, and she has to put him in a body because he's like come back in time, whatever.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, and so he's inhabiting this bloke, and they explain quite clearly the guy's trapped inside his own body with Kirk controlling him and all this throughout the whole film.
Oh my god,
it's a terrible film. Absolutely terrible.
Right, Sam, you need this to draw the game. Okay. I'm glad I watched this at someone else's house. Much worse than the original. No Eddie, such a pity. Pleasant Disney-fied martial arts flick.
No Eddie.
No Eddie. That's quite a big clue, I'd say. Eddie as in the name Eddie.
Y?
Eddie. Wonder if Chris knows
martial arts film?
Yep, and a Disney film, and it's a remake, but Eddie Murphy's not in it.
Oh.
Ooh. Gonna have to pass that over, Sam, if you
Hang
want to make a guess.
But it's a big one. It's a flop on that level with Eddie Murphy in it.
Eddie Murphy was in the original, but he's not in this version. The character is not in this version.
Oh, I don't know. Norbit 2.
Okay, Chris, do you know this one?
Beverly Hills Cop.
I thought you'd get it. It was Mulan.
Mulan?
Yeah, the live-action remake of Mulan. Because Eddie Murphy... Yeah, they did 2020 again, so maybe you could say it was unfair. How much do you think it lost?
139.
139.
Was Eddie Murphy a big thing of Mulan? Wasn't that Shrek that Eddie Murphy was the
Eddie Murphy was the dragon in the original Mulan, and obviously because this was real, or supposed to be real, because there's witches.
I don't know if I'm doubting it. I've never seen the film. I don't know
No.
I don't believe you.
I tell you what, we tried to watch this at home, and with Logan, and Logan got about 10 minutes in, didn't like it, but Logan said, "Why are they all speaking English? It's in China," and I was like, "Well, yeah, exactly. Don't make it real if it's gonna be real. Why are they not speaking Chinese?" Yeah,
do they still make those remakes,
live actions? I don't know if they've given up a little bit. They did Cruella, that made money, didn't it?
We saw the Jungle Book one, that was okay, and we saw Lion King, and it's like just a shot-for-shot remake with real people. It's pointless.
Yeah, it depends what they do, isn't it? Well, anyway, this is the end. That's Mulan lost 142 million. This is the end. Chris won 4-3. Very good. Money. Well done. That was a lot of money.
A lot of Disney, a lot of sci-fi.
Yeah. I think it's because sci-fi you can get it very wrong, can't you?
I'm surprised actually how many of those are so recent as well, because you know,
the gamble though, isn't it? It's a gamble. You gamble more money and lose more.
Is it skewed because sci-fis are the most expensive also?
Yes.
And also most films are sci-fi these days.
Yeah. I agree.
And also, you can kind of see why we're just stuck in, like, it's either Marvel or it's not a film now, can't you? If everything else doesn't make money. It's a shame, really.
No. Yeah. Talking of terrible films that lost loads of money, back with John Carter. So they go... He gets a lesson in the planets and all their silly names. And this is just...
Chris is falling asleep.
Yeah, I mean, she calls the sun for some reason.
Yeah.
But then every other planet has got a different name, hasn't it?
He's not happy when she gets to Earth and doesn't call it Earth, does he? He swipes the thing out of the way. That's Earth.
And then he gets really annoyed when he realises he's on Mars.
Yeah.
Because he hadn't realised until that point. I mean, it's quite far in the film and he hadn't realised.
A lot further in the Philadelphia experiment for your reveal of that. Yeah.
Very true. And then
we need to start a time to revelation counter, don't we? A TTR counter. All these films. See which one goes the furthest.
Yeah, that'd be quite good. So then they head off to this... I think she says something about, I'm going to take you to this sacred place because then we'll work out what happens to you.
Who gives a shit?
I mean, yeah.
Like the whole film was just mumbo jumbo. They're going from one place that makes no sense, another place that makes no sense. Bunch of names no one understands.
Yeah,
There's a war going on, but no, they all look the same anyway. What the hell's going on?
Are they expecting kids to keep up with this?
Oh, I was totally like, I cannot see a child watching this film. It was so...
Especially this bit we're in now, where it's like half an hour just talking around a boring set.
I just feel like maybe he liked the original too much, and he was just... But why didn't they make him edit it?
There's enough people on the planet. I bet there's someone this is their favourite film.
Well, a lot of the things I found said, like, it's great despite the bomb. Like, loads of views of people saying that they loved it. Yeah.
No. Anyway, they all go off to this temple. As you say, it doesn't really make much sense. When they get to the temple, they realise that for some reason... They get to this temple and she's all like smart about it. And then John Carter's like, oh, I was telegrammed here then. Because it's like that she explains that there's a copy of him.
Yeah, I didn't get this.
But I didn't get that either. Because does that mean he was still alive on Earth while he was here? Or...
Because when he goes back to Earth, and he's like going, oh, my copy's up there now, right?
Yeah.
But he wants to get back. When he goes back, what happens to the copy?
Exactly.
And what's the copy up to?
No,
and do they both have the same memories, or
yeah. I mean, he keeps having these flashbacks to this blonde woman, but he's obviously trying to get off with the princess quite a lot.
And his cave of gold. He says the cave of gold about 100 times, doesn't he? Cave of gold.
He wants to get to his cave of gold. And anyway, let's skip ahead a bit here. So. We get a bit of dialogue between him and Mark Strong, and it's kind of the reveal for Mark Strong is that they are a race of beings who they're parasites and they go to planets and kind of influence politics to destroy the world because they feed off the destruction of the world.
But he also says that they're immortal.
Yeah.
And
are they doing it for shits and giggles?
Basically,
they're like cues.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are like cues, basically. So then that's that. And basically, their plot, what they want is for...
That's that.
They want Dominic West to marry the princess to cause the destruction of the planet? For reasons, yeah. Like, there isn't really an answer, is there?
They're really into it as well, like saying you've got to marry her. You can't just kill her or whatever. And they just give, and her dad just gives in and is like, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, we'll do that then. John Carter rallies the Tharks with that speech I did at the beginning because he's all like, you've just got to kind of give a shit. If you don't give a shit, the whole planet's fucked. Is this after he fights those two great big apes?
Sometimes it's got to be what a Thark's got to be.
Have we done that bit? That's just before that. That was bullshit. That reminded me, that was like something from Star Trek, wasn't it?
No, it was like episode 2.
Attack of the Clones, yeah.
It was like episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was awful. And that's in so many films now. Yeah. Like, yeah. Do you know there were 1,800 costumes were designed, 383 yards of cloth material were used.
Again, very boring design, isn't it?
The Dja's wedding dress, cuffs and crown had 120,000 Swarovski crystals in them, attached by hand. Think how much that costs, and also how long that would take to make. And it just looked like, I mean, it didn't look particularly good, did it? I mean...
What's that prop thing that you get sometimes, that catalogue you send us, Chris? They sell props.
Yeah, prop store.
Prop store, that's it. I wonder how much John Carter stuff goes for.
I think I may have seen some shit on there, actually.
Yeah.
Like they use it to prop the door open and stuff when you go in. Like
you get one free costume from this film over the purchase.
Yeah. The thing I kept finding, one of the many things I found annoying about this film, a lot of scenes seem to either end or begin with him getting knocked out and then waking up captured by another random set of people, didn't they? That happens literally about 5 or 6 times.
It's like not only like visually boring, the story doesn't go anywhere, but also, like you say, the steps are they're repetitive, they're dull.
It's slow. Because in a book, when you read a book, you can read stuff that kind of informs you of what it looks like or the background of the one race of aliens or whatever, can't you? And it's in a context of a book, it doesn't annoy you. But in a film, it's really annoying.
I think as well, though, like I think the source material probably is to blame because this isn't like a Lord of the Rings where you've got some like tome of knowledge to go from.
Yeah,
which is what they feel. It feels like they think they've got this massive world to pull from, but they're just like pulpy books made. Like they're Tarzan books, aren't they? They're
like
very,
Tarzan. Yeah,
like schlocky sort of B movie kind of sci-fi, which they're trying to pump up into this big epic thing, and it's not.
But I think the biggest crime of this film is it's a bit like Flash Gordon, but it's just not fun. This isn't a fun... Flash Gordon is really good fun, and it's entertaining.
I do agree. It definitely felt like that kind of early 80s post-Star Wars attempt to make a new universe kind of film. You're right.
And I think if this had been made earlier, it actually might have had more of that kind of throwaway camp kind of...
Yeah, they'd have gone less for the grandeur.
If it was like Harryhausen... I think... if it's just completely bonkers.
Yeah, and it could have worked. Anyway, there's a big war. Dominic West dies. The princess is fine. Everything's fine. It doesn't really matter. Mark Strong is kind of killed. No, Mark Strong disappears, doesn't he? I don't really remember.
One version gets got, then he gets out of there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It really doesn't matter. And they end up together, and it's all over, as it were. And then he's all like, they'd obviously had sex and stuff, and he wanders out onto the balcony. He's like, I just got that feeling, like I've left a cooker on, or like he says like some really weird like thing, and then he gets sucked back to normal, gets sucked back to Earth, and then you cut back to as we said, he cuts back to his voiceover, and them saying, because it's such an annoying ending. Basically, then he spent his whole life trying to get back to Mars, and that was why he did all the crazy stuff he did.
He needs a device.
He needed the device, and then
he set a trap, hasn't he? Basically,
he's done.
He's not really in the tomb.
He had pufferfish poison to simulate death.
Faked his own death.
He's not in the tomb, so the main guy that wrote the book goes there. Works out that it's his name, Ned or something, that opens a tomb for no apparent reason. And then just as he's about to go in, he's like the Therm turns up like, ha ha ha. And then it's like, I got you. And it was all a big fake out to get the device so that he can go back to Mars.
Yeah.
And that was it. And his nephew quite rightly says, so you basically used me as bait. And he's all like, oh, no, I didn't. And he's like, yeah, but you did though, didn't you? Because that is... what he did.
He calls him Ned over and over again as well to make sure that you know that he's definitely called Ned, not Ed.
Yeah, and in the end, he says his magic words and he goes off and you hear the princess say it and it's like, is that a happy ending? Like, there's a lot of stupid questions that have been... It felt like it really rushed, as I am doing. It rushed this ending, but it's not really an ending, is it? Like,
clearly, before release, they were extremely confident they were going to make a sequel, weren't they? Because that is quite a big cliffhanger for the second one of him being back on Mars.
Yeah.
Which is insanely misguided.
Yeah. I mean, I think, they did want to...
Oh, they definitely did. The titles, Gods of Mars and Warlord of Mars were the two sequels for this film.
I mean, like you say, it's pretty telling that Disney let this go back to...
Yeah,
let the franchise go. That's pretty like
the scripts were written for the two sequels.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh god.
They do kind of didn't like they've disowned the Christmas special, haven't they? Disney or
that's gone. Yeah.
Like they try and clean history.
Yes.
Yeah.
Disney.
So do you think we're looking at a point where this will be eradicated from the...
Well, it's on Disney Plus, which I was surprised at.
Is it?
That's where I watched it, on Disney Plus.
Oh, that is surprising.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I think, do you know what, Sam? I think you're bang on. I think there's a certain type of person that is just like, loves this film. Like, it's their favourite film.
Which is weird, isn't it?
Really weird, because it's absolute toilet. It is awful. I mean, it's so awful. It's not fun. It's boring. It's long. It's boring. It doesn't look good. The design isn't good.
I think the worst thing about it is, in a world where it is extremely hard to get like actual original science fiction made, the fact that this is what they blew that much money on is really, really depressing.
But this might have done the damage, though. That's the thing. This is the reason, probably.
Yeah. Do you want to know something positive that came from John Carter?
Go on, then.
When filming at Big Water in Utah, the crew accidentally discovered a 60-foot-long sauropod dinosaur skeleton. The State Land Management Bureau took over. So they discovered a skeleton, a dinosaur. So, I mean, at least something interesting and,
Chris, where do you
valid.
stand on the Tyrannosaurus Rex being devolved into 3 different types of dinosaur? It
happens all the time in paleontology. It should be, really, because it's like there are only words that we use to, stake out a very fluid continuum of organisms moving through time.
Yeah. No more T-Rex?
Well, there is a T-Rex, but then there's 2 cousins now, isn't there? I think.
I don't know.
You're not going to get rid of a T-Rex. Anyway,
sorry.
We can get rid of this film. We can get rid of it in the list. But anyway, anyone have any thoughts apart from this is a terrible film?
Oh, let's stop talking about it because it's so bad.
Yeah, not much more.
It's a bit. It does feel like that, doesn't it? It was. I didn't watch it deliberately, and now I almost feel like I was right because, I hope people listen to this and then don't watch it because
it's one of those films that. I stopped and walked off multiple times. It took multiple sittings to get through it.
Yeah, me too. Actually.
There's not many films on this list I can't just sit through,
No.
But
I think it needs to be low. It needs to be very low.
It's not even that long, either. It feels like it's about 3 hours, but it's not. I think it's 2 hours 5 or something. It's not anywhere near as long as it feels.
I think I'll give you a pitch. I think it should be below Crawl.
Below Crawl, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Chris?
Yes. That's probably a good idea.
Because Krull is very John Carter, isn't it?
Yeah, Krull is very... Yeah.
It's not... You like to look at is... that Valerian film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Valerian, I think, is better.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But it's got a similar vibe, hasn't it?
I can see what you're saying, but it just...
Mark Strong vibes.
It just feels... It just is a waste of everyone's time. It's just sad that all that money went into just nothing.
I think an alternative universe is like a ride for this at Disneyland.
Yeah, well, there's an alternative universe where Taylor Kitsch is like the biggest actor around. These 3 films,
the 10th anniversary of the John Carter trilogy is coming out in cinemas right now.
Yeah, these 3 films catapulted his career. This Battleships and Savages catapulted his career to the stratosphere. He's the biggest actor around. He married Gal Gadot, and they've got all these lovely kids.
I think, Alex, you summed up very early on there that the problem with that film, the main problem was the fact that it didn't know its audience. That was the problem, wasn't it? God. That is the problem with it.
That's really weird, considering it's a guy who made children's films. He knew his audience. I mean, WALL-E is so well handled. That manages to be a kids' film that's got really interesting science fiction in it.
Wonderful.
It's got really good message. Kids wouldn't get bored during that film. Same with Finding Dory's, Finding Nemo. They're good films. They're solid entertainment. Where did he go so wrong? It's a solid bit of entertainment. I mean, it's all right. Okay, Sam's full in faces, but they're decently made films. They're not badly made.
It gets a ride at Disneyland. So
this is a badly made film.
It's a terrible film.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't need to talk about it anymore.
It's fifth bottom out of 230 films. So yeah.
Now my pitch for the next film we do, it is. So I don't know if this. Do you know the film Black Hole? A Disney film.
Oh, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it. Yeah, it's a 70s one, is it?
Yeah, I think Black Hole was made at the same time as Tron and something else.
80s then, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they were all... It was when Disney had really lost it. I think it's called The Black Hole.
Yeah.
It's on Disney Plus.
Disney had really lost its way, and it didn't. It was trying different things. It's got. I really remember the robot in it. It's got this little kind of round robot, and it was a big flop. But I think it'd be interesting.
Oh, the music! You remember Sam? We used to have that album which was like the sci-fi themes.
Oh yes, the FX. Yeah.
This was on it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay, so that's my pitch for next week, is that we do The Black Hole, because it kind of feels like, we've got another Disney film. I don't know if if it's on Disney Plus, people will know about it, but it was a big flop.
There's the same graphic that they used in the Philadelphia experiment.
Brilliant.
That wormhole, the green wormhole graphic.
Yeah. Well, that's
that's you then, Chris, hosting that one.
Yeah.
We're in a Disney season now, Disney trilogy. Yeah. We should do.
What should we do after that?
What was that other Disney one? Was Mars Need Moms a Disney one?
Maybe it is. Or
there's a ton of animated ones.
Yeah, or Titan AE. There's quite a few.
We'll convene off air and we'll do a third Disney.
Well, anyway, next week we'll be back with The Black Hole, Disney. Like I said, I think we talked about it because it was it this Tron that and a horror film or something they made at the time. Because they just were just like, we're making no money, just do what you want, see what happens.
God, this really is churning out like Star Wars type stuff.
Yeah.
Can't wait to watch this.
Okay, there you go. Anyway, that's all for now. So we will. I wish we could say goodbye how John Carter says goodbye in the native tongue of the Tharks, but we can't. So we'll just say goodbye.
But someone can, can't they?
Yeah, someone can. Someone learnt that language.
I bet there's a whole club somewhere.
Yeah. If you can say it, email in with a greeting for us, please, in John Carter.
I bet you go to
Willem Dafoe. If Willem Dafoe wants to call us up and do some Thark language, that'd be great. Please do.
In the words of John Carpenter, absolute bullshit. That's what this film is.
Goodbye.
Bye.